I thought I was a good husband and a great dad. One quiet night with our nanny proved I was wrong. This is how I almost lost everything that mattered. The night I ruined my life didn't look dangerous at all. No storm, no shouting, no slammed doors. Just a cartoon playing too loud in the living room and my little boy's socks on the coffee table. If you'd frozen that moment and asked me, "Hey man, you think you're about to blow up your family?" I'd have laughed and said you were crazy. Back then, if you saw us from the outside, we looked like the kind of family people post about with those cheesy captions. My everything. And the ugly part is, I used to believe that. My wife, Emma, was the kind of woman who could run a meeting at work, remember every school event, and still show up to my softball games with orange slices for the guys like we were 10 years old. She had this habit of tucking her hair behind her ear when she was concentrating. And I swear for the first 7 years of our marriage, I never got tired of watching her do it. Our son, Noah, was 3. He had my eyes and her stubbornness. He called lightning skycrack and ketchup red sauce, and the kid could make me forget a whole bad day with one lopsided smile. I used to come home, drop my keys in the same bowl by the door, and hear him yell, "Daddy's here," like I'd just come back from war instead of a boring office in a strip mall. We lived in a small blue house on a quiet street, nothing fancy, but it felt like ours in that deep way. You know, finger paint stains on the dining room table, a squeaky step on the staircase you learned to skip, a dent in the drywall from the time I tried to hang a TV myself. Our fridge was covered in daycare art, grocery lists, and a photo from our wedding where I was looking at Emma like I'd won the lottery. If I'm being honest, that's who I thought I was. A decent guy, solid husband, trying hard dad. Not perfect, sure, but good. The kind of man who mows his own lawn, shows up for family birthdays, remembers to text his wife when he's running late. When Noah got older and Emma went back to full-time work, we agreed we needed help. Someone to pick him up, keep the house from falling apart, give us a little breathing room. Nothing dramatic, just practical, grown-up life. That's how the nanny came into the picture. If I'd known what her name would eventually mean to my wife, to my son, to the man I thought I was, I might have burned the phone number the moment we got it. Her name was Lily. She was 24, finishing community college, and came with glowing references from 2 other families. Emma liked her immediately. Lily was calm with Noah, patient in that way I never quite mastered. She'd sit cross-legged on the floor, building block towers while he narrated some wild dinosaur story, and she actually listened. Not the fake grown-up listening either. The real kind. For a long time, that was all she was to me. The nanny. I'd nod hello in the mornings, crack a dad joke, ask how Noah had been. Sometimes I'd get home early and the 3 of them would be in the backyard. Emma pulling weeds, Lily pushing Noah on the swing. It looked helpful, innocent, normal. The first crack in that picture was small. One evening, Emma texted that she'd be late at the office. I got home around 6, tired, tie halfway undone. Lily had made Noah macaroni and cheese, and there was music playing low in the kitchen. She was washing dishes, sleeves rolled up, humming some country song I grew up with. Noah ran to me, I scooped him up, and for a second, it felt like we were a different kind of family. A wrong kind. I noticed it, then shoved it away. Later that week, Noah came down with a cold. Emma had a big presentation, so I took a half day and came home to help. Lily was there, hair in a messy bun, wearing one of those oversized sweatshirts. Noah was asleep on the couch, his little chest rising and falling under a blanket. "Thanks for staying late," I said softly. "Of course," she whispered. "He was asking for you." We sat at the table with mugs of tea while Noah slept. At first it was just casual talk, her classes, my job, how expensive everything had gotten. Then it drifted. She told me about her dad leaving when she was a kid, how she'd promised herself she'd never depend on anyone. I told her about my mom's health, the pressure I felt to be the man of the family. It wasn't flirting. Not yet. But it was close. Too close. I should have stopped there. The night it crossed the line, it didn't feel dramatic. Emma was out of town at a conference. Noah had finally gone down after fighting bedtime. Lily and I were picking up toys in the living room, laughing about how a 3-year-old could cause so much chaos. She handed me a stuffed dinosaur. Our fingers brushed, and something in me sparked. Instead of moving away, I held her gaze a little too long. She didn't look away. "You're a good dad," she said quietly. "You're good with him," I answered. My voice sounded different to my own ears, lower, heavier. "We couldn't do this without you." I don't know who stepped closer first. I just remember the moment the distance disappeared, the moment our choices became something we couldn't pretend was harmless. There was a kiss, hesitant and then not. A door closing. The sound of my own heartbeat pounding in my ears like a warning I didn't want to hear. It happened once, and I walked around afterward telling myself it was a mistake. A lapse. Something we would never repeat. I looked at Noah sleeping in his bed and wanted to scrub the whole night out of my body. But the truth is, once you cross that line, it gets easier to pretend the line was never there. So it did happen again. "Could you stay a little later? Here. Do you want to talk? There." Small steps that led us right back to the same wrong place more than once. Each time, I told myself I was still a good dad, still mostly a good husband, just a man under stress making bad decisions. I had no idea how high the bill for those decisions was going to be when it finally came due. The thing about secrets is they don't stay hidden. They rot. And after a while, everything in the house starts to smell like them. On the day Emma found out, nothing felt special at first. It was a Saturday. College football on TV, leaves starting to turn in the yard, Noah racing toy cars along the coffee table. Emma was cleaning out the hall closet, complaining about how we kept everything just in case. I was half listening, half checking emails on my phone. I'd almost forgotten how careless I'd gotten. "Hey," she called from the bedroom, voice light. "Did you move my old laptop bag?" "Nah," I answered, not looking up. "Probably buried behind the winter stuff." A few minutes passed. Then the house went quiet. Not the regular quiet. The heavy kind. The kind where even the TV feels too loud. I muted the game and listened. "Babe?" I called out. No answer. I got up, heart shifting a little in my chest. I walked down the hall and found her sitting on the edge of our bed, my tablet in her hands. The screen was on. Her face, I'll never forget it. Like someone had turned all the color down. Not angry yet. Not crying. Just stunned. "Emma?" My voice cracked. "What's going on?" She didn't look at me at first. Her thumb moved across the screen, scrolling. Then she held it up, not quite steady. My messages with Lily. Not all of them, but enough. Enough to be bad. Enough to make it obvious this wasn't just, "Hey, how's Noah? How long?" She asked quietly, "Have you been deleting things from your phone but not your tablet?" My stomach dropped. I'd completely forgotten they synced. I started talking before my brain caught up. "Emma, listen, it's not. Don't." She cut in, and now her voice was shaking. "Do not say it's not what it looks like. There's a moment when you realize there's no way out, only through." I felt it right then. My legs went weak and I sat down in the desk chair like someone had pushed me. "Was it just talking?" she asked, still clinging to some tiny shred of hope. "Tell me you at least respected me that much." I couldn't answer. My silence was louder than anything I could have said. Her hand flew to her mouth like she was trying not to be sick. "Oh my God," she whispered. "With her? In our house? Emma, how many times?" Now the anger slipped in. Her eyes were glossy but sharp. "How many times did you bring her into our marriage?" I wanted to lie. I wanted to say once, to shrink it, make it smaller, make myself less awful. But something in me broke, and the truth came out. "A few," I said hoarsely. "More than once." She stood up like the floor was burning her. "Our child's nanny. The woman we trusted with Noah. You chose her, out of every person on this planet, to betray me with?" Noah padded into the doorway, clutching a stuffed dinosaur. "Mommy?" Her whole body flinched. She wiped her face fast, forcing a smile that looked painful. "Hey buddy, Mommy's okay. Go play in your room for a bit, okay? They'll be there soon." He looked between us, sensing something, but he went. The second he disappeared down the hall, the mask fell. Tears spilled over. "How long have you been lying to me?" she asked. All those nights you said you were tired. All those times you told me I was overthinking things. I'm so sorry. I kept saying useless words that sounded cheap even to me. I was stupid. I was selfish. It didn't mean, don't you dare say it didn't mean anything. Her voice cracked on the last word. You don't get to burn our house down and then tell me it was just a little fire. I reached for her, some dumb instinct, and she stepped back like my touch physically hurt. Pack a bag, she said finally, breathing hard. You're going to your brother's. Tonight. I can't even look at you right now. And that was it. In less than an hour, the life ID built, the one ID taken for granted, was sitting on our bed in tears, telling me to leave. I walked past Noah's room on my way out, heard him humming to himself, completely unaware that his family had just cracked right down the middle. People talk about rock bottom like it's one moment, one big crash. For me, it was more like a slow, miserable slide. I stayed at my brother's place for a while. His guest room smelled like old carpet cleaner and gym socks, and every night I lay there staring at the ceiling, replaying everything in my head like some horrible highlight reel I couldn't turn off. The sound of Emma's voice breaking, the way she stepped away when I tried to touch her, Noah's little face in the doorway, confused. Eve never felt smaller in my life. The first few days, Emma barely answered my texts. When she did, it was short, to the point. You can pick Noah up at 4. Or please send money for groceries. No emojis, no hey, nothing that sounded like the woman I married. Just a person doing business with a stranger. I started seeing myself through her eyes, and it wasn't pretty. I wasn't the good guy who'd made a simple mistake. I was the husband who'd brought another woman into our house and let her breathe the same air as our marriage while I was breaking it. I was the dad who risked his kid's sense of safety so he could feel wanted and admired by someone new. Every excuse I told myself, stress, feeling unappreciated, needing an escape, started to sound exactly like what they were: weak, selfish, cheap. One Sunday, about 2 weeks in, I finally got up the nerve to ask if we could talk. Really talk. Not just logistics about pickup and bedtime. She replied hours later. You can come over after Noah's asleep. 8:30. I must have changed shirts 4 times before I went. My hands were sweating on the steering wheel like I was a teenager again. Walking up to that little blue house felt like walking into a courtroom where I already knew the verdict. Emma opened the door, and for a second, I almost didn't recognize her. Same face, same eyes, but harder somehow. Tired. She let me in without a hug, without even brushing my arm. He's asleep, she said. Don't wake him up. I nodded, throat dry. We sat at the kitchen table, the same table where ID once watched Lily color with Noah like it was no big deal, and I felt physically sick. Say what you came to say, Emma said. No anger in her voice now, just this worn-out sadness that hurt worse. I took a breath. I'm sorry, I started, then stopped because those words felt too small. I know you've heard that 100 times from me already, but I need you to know I get it now. I really get it. I didn't just cheat. I burned down your trust. I made our home feel unsafe. I disrespected you as my wife and as Noah's mom and as a person. Her eyes glistened, but she didn't speak. I wish I could give you some big reason, I went on, voice shaking. Something that would make this make sense. But there isn't one. I was selfish. I liked feeling admired, wanted. Instead of talking to you when I felt distant or insecure, I took the easy, cowardly way and found someone who made me feel like a hero without knowing the whole story. A tear rolled down her cheek. You were already my hero, she whispered. You were his. You had the real thing and you traded it for what? For someone who wasn't even staying? That tore me in half. I know, I said, and I hate myself for it. I've started seeing a counselor. Eve been going every few days trying to figure out how I got so far off course. I'm not telling you that to get a gold star. I'm telling you because I want to be better, even if you never take me back. Her eyebrows lifted just a little. You're seeing someone? Yeah, I said. Because I don't want this to be who I am. I don't want our son to grow up with a dad who just shrugs and says, that's how men are. That's garbage. I want to be the man you thought you married. The man Noah thinks I still am. Silence settled between us. She stared at the grain in the table, tracing it with her fingertip. "What do you want from me?" she finally asked. The question hit me in the chest. I swallowed hard. "I want you to heal," I said. "Whatever that looks like. Even if it doesn't include me. But if there is any part of you, any tiny corner, that can even imagine someday trying again, I'm asking for that chance. I know I don't deserve it. I know Eve used up every benefit of the doubt. But I'm begging you for one more shot. To earn it back inch by inch." Her lips trembled. "How do I ever trust you in this house again? Knowing what you did here? I don't expect you to just flip a switch," I answered. "You can check my phone, my email, my location, whatever you need. I'll sleep on the couch for a year if that's what it takes. I'll answer every question, no matter how much it hurts. I'll do counseling with you, alone, both, whatever. I don't want this to be the end of us. If there's any chance, it doesn't have to be." She covered her face with her hands and cried for a long time, and all I could do was sit there and listen to the sound ID created. The sound of someone's heart trying to decide whether it could still beat for the person who broke it. When she finally looked up, her voice was rough. "I don't know if I can forgive you," she said. "Not yet. Maybe not ever. But I also don't know if I'm ready to give up on our family." That tiny sentence cracked something open in me. Not relief exactly, more like a cautious, painful kind of hope. "Whatever you decide," I said, "I'll spend the rest of my life trying to be worthy of it." She nodded slowly, eyes distant. "Then the first thing that has to happen," she said, "is she's gone. Completely. Out of our lives. Out of this house. No more nanny, no more messages, nothing. If there's even a trace of her left in this story, there's no story." I nodded so fast my neck hurt. "Done." "Absolutely. You have my word." It was the first condition of a second chance I hadn't earned yet, but desperately wanted. Firing Lily wasn't dramatic. It wasn't a screaming match or a scene from a movie. It was a short phone call in the driveway while Emma sat inside at the kitchen table, clutching a mug she wasn't really drinking from. I crossed a line, I told Lily. A big one. "I betrayed my wife. I betrayed my son. This can't go on. You won't be working here anymore. There won't be anything anymore." She was quiet for a long time. Then she said very softly, I figured. "No tears, no begging. Just a tired kind of acceptance. Take care of Noah," she added. "He's a good kid." "I know," I said, throat tight. "I'm going to try to be worthy of him." And that was it. No more texts. No more secret looks in the hallway. Her contact disappeared from my phone. Her name disappeared from our schedule and slowly, from our house. Emma boxed up the little drawings Lily had helped Noah with and put them in the garage. The first few weeks, every time the doorbell rang around for, my heart jumped, expecting her. But she never came back. Life didn't snap back into place. It didn't even really start over. It just limped forward. Emma agreed to try counseling with me. The first session, she sat angled away, arms crossed, answering questions like she was on a jury. We talked about timelines, about feelings, about the way she felt like the ground had been pulled out from under her. I talked about my selfishness, my hunger for attention, the way I'd let myself drift from the man I thought I was. At home, things were awkward. I moved back in but slept in the guest room. We had rules. Full transparency, no passwords hidden, no sudden late nights at work without explanation. Sometimes she'd ask out of nowhere, "Were you thinking about her then? Or did you ever look at me and wish I was her?" And no matter how much it stung, I answered honestly. Trust didn't come back in a flood. Came in drops. The first time she let me put Noah to bed while she took a bath instead of hovering nearby, it was a drop. The first time she laughed, really laughed, at one of my dumb jokes again, it was another. The day she reached out and took my hand in the parking lot of the grocery store without seeming to realize she was doing it, I had to blink back tears. Forgiveness didn't look like what I'd imagined, either. It wasn't her saying, "It's okay, I get it." It was her saying, "It still hurts, but I'm choosing not to let this be the only thing that defines us." It was her showing up to counseling even on days she wanted to stay mad. It was her letting me see her cry and not pushing me away when I sat beside her. One night, Months after everything blew up, we were sitting on the couch, some mindless show playing. Noah was asleep. The house was quiet. Emma turned the volume down and looked at me. "I forgive you," she said. Just like that. No build-up. No dramatic music. Her eyes were wet, but steady. "I'm not saying I forgot. I'm not saying I'll never have bad days about it. But I don't want to spend the rest of my life punishing you or poisoning myself. I want my husband back. The one who dances stupid with our kid in the kitchen and fixes the leaky sink and kisses me goodnight." It hit me harder than any anger ever had. My chest felt too small for my heart. "I'm here," I managed. "And I'm not going anywhere. Not ever again. I can't even recognize the guy who did that anymore. I don't want to be him. I won't be him." Was it that simple? Of course not. There were still arguments, still triggers, still random days when a line in a movie or a joke from a friend would bring it all back and I'd see that flicker of pain in her eyes. But little by little, the good days outnumbered the bad. I didn't just not cheat again. That bar was way too low. I started showing up differently. I listened more. I told her when I was struggling instead of stuffing it down. I made time for us, not just for work and parenting, coffee dates, walks, even just 10 minutes on the porch after Noah went to bed, talking about nothing and everything. And something strange happened over time. I stopped living as the man who was constantly on the edge of messing up again, and started living as the man who knew, deep in his bones, what it would cost if he did. Sometimes, I still drive past the park where I used to meet Lily with Noah, and my stomach twists. Not because I miss it. Not because I'm tempted, but because I can see so clearly now how close I came to losing everything that actually mattered. People think forgiveness is soft. It's not. It's one of the toughest, bravest things I've ever seen. My wife's forgiveness didn't erase what I did. It didn't make me the good guy again by default, but it gave me a chance to become a better man than I was before I ever messed up. If there's a lesson in all of this, I think it's this. Love isn't just the warm stuff. It's the hard choices in the cold light of day. It's who you are when nobody's watching, and who you decide to become after you see the worst version of yourself. I look at my family now. Emma curled up on the couch, Noah asleep down the hall, and I don't see something I deserve. I see something I'm responsible for, something fragile and strong at the same time. Once, I almost traded it for a moment of feeling special. Now, every day I try to earn the second chance I was given.